I'm Dr. Cheryl, and welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. Our show is raising the awareness and consciousness in the relationship with wealth and applying unconditional love. Always remember that your present situation is not your final destination. The best is yet to come. Our show this evening is about the wealth of creating, directing, and producing with Martin Dunkerton. Martin is a director and producer. He attended the Royal College of Art, Masters of Art, Film in London in 1989. He has an MA in film directing and writing. He also attended the London College of Printing, a BA Hons Photography, Film and TV in London in 1987. His awards include the Royal Television Society Best British Documentary in 1997, BBC nomination for Black Diamonds, the Chicago International Film Festival Gold Award in 1990, Fire and Steel, Thames Television Traveling Bursary Award in 1989. Martin has created, there's so many movies and productions, this is too many to mention all of them, but Martin has created LovEarth, and I can't wait to talk about it. All his movies expanded the global community in England, Spain, France, Greece, and more. He is an author of several books as well, and I'm excited to introduce him live. Welcome.
Yay!
Martin, you're here. Been trying to get you on my show for, maybe 2 years or so. And you're finally here. And you came all the way from Topanga to be here. Thank you.
Yay! It's worth it at last. Brilliant.
And I want you to share, I've kind of done a little bit of your background in your intro.
Yeah.
But you are expanding like crazy. Right. And I'm so happy for you to share, especially, well, tell us about kind of your history and how you got where you are before we delve into
how I got here, you mean?
Well, we know you drove up I-5 or 101, whatever it was.
If only it was that easy to get into America. I just actually come back from London, and you go to the American embassy, and it's either a yes or a no, and I had to prove that I was worth something to the American people, and it's like you have the faith, you believe in the divine, but ultimately, it's going to be a man behind the desk with spectacles looking at you saying yes or no, and thankfully it was a yes. So here I am.
Yay!
Safe and sound.
Yay! Yay!
But yeah, originally I came over here with a movie for Julia Roberts. I don't know if you know that bit of the story.
No, I don't think I've heard this. No.
I had a very psychic girlfriend at the time, and she had a dream speaking with Julia Roberts, and we had a script we just wrote in Italy, and we just had a movie in the UK, and it'd been on cinemas and stuff, which is all about men, and this one was all about women. And it's a really funny, feisty, dramatic film set in, a fictitious Spanish island. And she had this dream, speaking to you. So I phoned up the agent. I said, well, I'm going to follow this dream. And who would do that? Who would actually phone up an American agent? He happened to be the owner of ICM, International Creative Management, at the time. And we ultimately flew over lock, stock and barrel to Los Angeles.
How long ago was this?
This was now, I'd never been to LA before in my life, and so this was now about 12 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And he said, you like the script? And then he said, make me an offer for Julia. And I said, what? Oh my God, we're getting an offer for, So we went to Goldman Sachs, we got an offer for Julia Roberts. We sat down in this Italian restaurant, and a mate of mine who I went to school with, went to college with twice, had made a movie called The Full Monty. Do you ever?
Oh yes, I know that one.
Really?
I do.
All the men going naked.
That's The Full Monty.
That's The Full Monty. So my friend, Pete Catania, had made that movie, and we sound like, he's like my Italian brother. We grew up together, when we were 13, and then went to college when we were 19, and then college again when we were 28. He went to the Royal College of Art. He edited my film at the Royal College of Art. Anyway, the head of ICM looked at me and said, "Wow, you're quite like Pete Catania. We just had a major success with him. I just wrote him $1 million check, and we love your movie. Next step is to meet Julia." So we moved over lock, stock, and barrel. And then what happened was like the unthinkable, was that Julia fell out of love in real life, and she didn't want to do anything with romance in it. So our American dream, our swimming pool. We had the American dream, but you have to pay for it by being in production. And basically, the swimming pool was the same amount as a typical monthly rent in LA, just to heat it. Just to heat the swimming pool was so expensive. Anyway, so all the money that we had just spiraled down, and we crashed and burned. My fiance and I split up. Yeah. And that's when you pray.
Oh, you should have been on. You should see my show about this couple that's lost millions. They lost $2 multi-million-dollar business. I had them on your show about a month and a half ago, and how they survived. And they're more in love than they ever have been.
Wow.
By the tools that they had. Anyway.
Well, I didn't have those tools. I didn't have those tools.
Yeah, well,
that's the next step. I prayed to the divine. Now, what do you do next? You crashed and burned back in London.
So you went back to
crashed and burned back in London. Yeah. We split up.
Yeah.
I was on the dole. I mean, I was like literally had nothing at that time. I was minus, so it was like I had nothing. I had to go on welfare. So I was on welfare. I had, I was in debt. I was nearly bankrupt. I was penniless. I technically had no home. I technically had no bed. My brother let me stay in this apartment that he was about to sell. So I was just staying there in the interim, and I prayed to God. And what came back was a friend of mine said, "Oh, whenever I approaching hardship, there's this book, this magical book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill." And I hated those kind of books. I mean, I really did not like anything to do with, 1 Minute Millionaire, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, all these kind of books I always steered clear from. But I said to myself, this book was written in 1937. It sounds, like desire, faith, these chapters. Faith. Power of the mastermind. Mystery of sex transmutation. 10th step to riches. Wow, these subconscious mind, the brain, through to the sixth sense. I thought, what is the sixth sense doing in a book about money? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that'd be metaphysics. That's what my book is Wealth Transformation. It's all about the metaphysics.
Beautiful. So many of the giants, like your book, many of the giants that I've met since have basically the trail that they've led today has been because they've actually read that book and built their empires today upon Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
and which is like the grandfather, the daddy, the Bible of money. So I read this book and I was so transfixed. I was so transformed, and I said, wow, only a few years ago I had the editor, I had the James Bond editor. I was in Pinewood Studios. I was shooting a movie in Greece with over 100 people. We had the guys who mixed Blade Runner mixing my movie. We had a song, but right now I have nothing but a book, a camera, like a video camera, and me. What do? I said, I'm going on a journey. I want to see if this book is true. I'm going to go on an adventure around the world. I'm going to find millionaires and billionaires who've created their wealth using Think and Grow Rich as their mantra, as their Bible, almost of money. Like how? But it's beyond money. It's a philosophy. It's got spiritual principles. It's got divine principles. And I did. I went on this journey and I raised little bits of money from the first person who put money in was this mum of 4 kids. I didn't even know. I never even met her. I just spoke to her on the phone. She was in Irvine in California. I was in London. And she said, I'm in. I want to see a film of this book. So thank you to her, and then thank you to the next, people. And basically, I got to Mark.
Transformation. It's all your transformation.
Big time. And then I got hold of Mark Victor Hansen,
Yes.
Chicken Soup for the Soul,
Yes, yeah.
co-creator, and he just loved the whole thing. He'd read Think and Grow Rich 200
Oh,
times.
yeah.
So he just said, okay, actually he said no at first. I've got to confess. He said no. I think I was too
Why
needy.
did he say no?
I think I was too needy.
Oh, okay.
And the business plan
It
wasn't
came
quite
out.
right. I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
him to invest.
Everything has its time.
It's funny. I wanted him to invest. And it wasn't until I said, look, I want to interview anyway, regardless of whether you want to invest or not. So I waited a couple of months, which is really tough, 2 months, because when
sure.
someone says no, you think it's no. But Napoleon Hill says,
You'd always-
no, Napoleon Hill says, when you think of Grow Rich, the first action you should take is go to your dictionary, go to the word impossible, and cut it out and throw it away.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
absolutely.
so I followed that philosophy. I didn't say no is my answer to Mark Victor Hansen. I thought I'm still going to persevere, but I'm going to transform in the process.
Yeah.
That's the key. How do you transform
Absolutely.
if you get a no? That means you've got to become a better version of yourself.
And there's always something better that's going to happen.
If you believe it.
Of course,
If
and
you
that's the
truly
key.
believe it.
And it's also
And
the unconscious mind.
It's what's in your subconscious, unconscious mind is
It's-
unbelievable because it's actually
That's
your
the MO.
It's the driving
Yeah, exactly.
force of what you actually do and the habits you've formed and the conditioning that you've had.
And
And
that's-
so it's a revolution of your mind. Napoleon Hill knew that your mind is actually going to determine your future.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to always pay attention to what is actually in your mind at all times.
Yes.
It takes discipline to do that.
So I phoned up Mark Victor Hansen bravely again and I said, would you be interested? Actually, in between, I've got to tell you this. In between, someone sent me something that that Mark Victor Hansen said, oh, you should do this. Look in the mirror and just say, I love you.
Absolutely, unconditionally.
Just look in the mirror, look
Yeah.
into your own eyes
Yeah.
and say, I love you. Not just once, but say it again. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
And
I love you. And it sounds crazy.
No,
it sounds like
no, it
out
isn't.
there. But it's the most beautiful thing. And honestly, I had the camera running because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was filming the whole process of, making a movie
Right.
based on Think and Grow Rich and the Modern Day Masters.
right, I watched.
And I had tears. I mean, like floods of tears.
Yeah.
It's like I was cracked
Healing.
open.
Healing.
And then I called in the sixth sense. I called in Napoleon Hill in spirit. Napoleon Hill talked about an invisible counsel
Right.
that he had
Yeah.
to help guide him. Now we might,
And you can pull
in
those
England, if
people.
I said that to my parents or my family, they said, Martin, you're hallucinating. Martin, you're gone bonkers. You're mad. Martin, you spent far too long in California. But actually at the time, I was in London and I had nothing to lose. I come from an atheist family, but
Really?
I had this belief.
Your mom too?
My mum is more of a disillusioned Christian turned Buddhist.
Oh, okay.
So she doesn't believe there's
Well,
God,
Buddhists,
God per
anyway.
se.
Okay,
She doesn't believe in angels per se, but she believes in the goodness of the universe, which is
Okay.
a positive
Yeah. Absolutely.
step forward if you've got a spiritual perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I call in the Invisible Council myself. I call in Napoleon Hill. I call in Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in the world, who gave Napoleon Hill his philosophy of wealth. I called in Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
I called
I
in
love him.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
I called in the greats to help guide me
Yeah.
forward, because when you believe there's an angelic force, when you believe there's a divine path for you to take, your highest path, not necessarily the easiest, but definitely the most rewarding. I'm not in London now. I'm here. I'm here with Dr. Cheryl on her show. Something must have happened in between. Do you know what I mean? That's something I must have listened, and I must have changed my habits. I must have transformed my subconscious mind. I must have listened to those who created wealth, who created huge abundance in their life, and have this great ability to give back. So I went to Mark Victor Hansen, and I said, phone him up. I said, I really don't need, we'd love you to be an investor, but that's not our remit. Our remit is just to interview you. We'd love to interview you with your wisdom on Napoleon Hill.
Right.
And I touched his heart instead of going for his, his mind and his back pocket of,
Right.
what we could get. It was like, what can I give him? This
Yeah.
multi-millionaire, creative chicken soup for the soul. And as soon as I said that, green light, come to LA, boom.
He's in Santa Barbara, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's actually based in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
So I flew into LA, went down to see him.
From London.
Yeah, did an interview in the studio with him and Robert Allen, who's his business partner, and together they wrote 1 Minute Millionaire.
Yeah.
The book that I so didn't want to read just only a couple of years before.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's like, I'm with the authors.
Well, you weren't ready.
I am.
Now,
and then suddenly, the magical door opens. I think there's this great quote, I think it's Rumi. It says, when all the doors are closed before you, a secret one will show you a secret path no other eyes have seen. So there I am before Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen, and they just were incredibly brilliant, and they loved the questions I asked, because I asked very spiritual questions, not just questions about money, but about the divine, they revealed stuff on camera in our movie that no one else had ever, they hadn't told anyone before ever on camera. So we got some magical stuff on film, and straight afterwards, what do they say?
The wisdom that you received is wonderful.
And guess what they said afterwards?
Mm.
Who do we write the check to?
Oh, geez. You're clever, brilliant, aren't you?
Well, the divine is clever and brilliant,
because
when there's
you
a
allowed
plan,
it to work through you.
Yes, this is it. This is it. I had to step out my own way, which is ego.
Ego, of course.
And I'm facing this right now with someone I just met in Marin County 2 years ago, and she's beautiful. She's got 2 kids, and she's been married and been under their thumb for in a marriage for 20 years, and potentially I'll be a stepfather. I love her to bits. We went to India together, and love is such a powerful thing, and part of coming here was also an opportunity to have dinner with her, and it worked out great. And the very next day, which was yesterday, she said, I can't see you. I can't see you. I can't, I have to be honest, I want my freedom.
Yeah, she's just coming out of a relationship.
She's coming out of a huge 20-year marriage. And, part of me says, but, come on and do it. And part of me says, Martin, just let it be.
And you can trust that.
Let it be. Trust the
It's
universe.
not ready. It's not time, or it's not right. It's not time.
Yeah. And, a lot of the divine is like that. A lot of the divine is letting go and surrendering. And it's so hard because I totally want to be with this beautiful woman. I totally believe I'm ready for this beautiful woman and totally able to love her fully. But
it may not be her.
But it might not be her. I've also got to give that up as well. That the notion that it's got to be this person. I'm just
staying open.
It's staying open to the right person. And love is one of those hearts because now your heart's involved.
But see,
and your heart is
and
vulnerable.
the heart and the mind are one. The heart and the mind are one.
Yeah.
And when you know, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go up to your mind and question it. It's just because the heart and mind are connected. And I know that's not easy, especially because we don't have it in our society that nurtures that connection. But when you have that, I talk about that on my show, and it's like when you know that connection, that's the divine. That is the divine, when your mind and your heart are one.
Yeah.
And then you just know. You just have a knowingness that, and you don't question it.
Yeah. But also, I kind of had this separation from her, and so I've got.
Yeah, most people do.
And so, other women come to me, and one you allow a little bit closer, and I was with one, actually naked in bed with her, and she's very spiritual, very evolved, and nothing really happened, but I just, the day after, my heart just cracked open, and I had this huge emotion for this woman, who's this Marin,
The image.
beautiful woman. Not the image, just her essence, her soul, her fire, I didn't realize how much I was actually in love with her until my heart cracked open. So I've told her this, but it's good to say it on camera as well, because it's good to be vulnerable. I mean, we're all teachers. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
And,
right.
I'm a teacher, I know, but
Yeah.
it's only because we learn these lessons and continually are
Well,
vulnerable.
we're teacher and student for one another.
never stop
I mean,
learning.
I don't want to ever
And
stop.
your heart never stops
Yeah.
beating until it does
Yeah.
stop. We're here on this epic, divine, spiritual mission, and love is one of those great things, and sexual energy is one of those great things. And Napoleon Hill was brave enough to talk about sexual energy in the form of the chapter, The Mystery of Sex Transmutation, 10 Steps to Riches. And I've really had to cultivate that and convert my sexual feelings and my heart feelings of love and direct them into this, LovEarth.
Well, that's the basis,
of
that
the movie.
sexual energy into our creativeness until you're ready for that connection.
Yeah.
I'm still working on that myself. Yes. So now that you've opened this LovEarth, I want to hear about this. I think we need the viewers to hear about it.
Thank you.
Because
the
it's
movie
powerful.
became
I love
made,
this.
and which is beautiful.
Save the world, get paid.
Yeah.
Yes. So please share.
Well, the biggest lesson I learned in making this movie, Awakening to Riches, and at first I wanted to make $1 million.
That was your goal.
That was my goal.
Now, did you want the $1 million to get this off the ground, or you just wanted
to make the movie
just because of the power of the money?
I wanted to make the movie, but I wanted to earn monetarily, $1 million myself. And then what happened was this turning point globally was the tsunami happened, and I saw billions of dollars from the West going to help hundreds of thousands of people who'd displaced, who'd been killed, who'd been, loved ones were lost, and money from the West was given to people they didn't even know. And I had this great, strong feeling, Martin, you've got to go right to where the tsunami happened with your camera, with Awaken to Riches, the movie, and everyone said, you're mad, don't go, are you crazy? What's this got to do with Think and Grow Rich? But I thought, this has got everything to do with Think and Grow Rich. But I couldn't explain it. It was just like a feeling, and I just knew I had to go. So I went, and this German nurse asked me to film this hospital that had hundreds of bodies in the days before I was there.
Were they alive? The bodies?
No, the bodies were dead. They were dead. I mean, there were dead bodies in the hospital, and I went knowing that I was putting myself at great, kind of health risk in going. But it was the biggest turning point,
to see
which
all those
led
dead
to.
bodies?
I actually didn't. They moved me out the day before, but I filmed the hospital.
Oh my God, that would be. I mean, I've seen dead bodies, but not like a whole caravan of dead bodies. That would be shocking.
Yeah, but I filmed the hospital where they were, and it was shocking. The actual deprivation of the conditions there, where. So I filmed it for a German nurse who said, "Could you film there?" And I had to really put my faith to go in there, because it was dangerous really.
Yeah.
And but I took the footage, edited it in London, showed the German nurse. She showed it to German doctors. They raised all this money, sent it back to the hospital, and I get all these months. She said, "Oh, Martin, we've completely transformed the hospital. Thank you for the footage."
Oh, wonderful.
It was the catalyst to raise the money.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, I haven't even finished this movie on Think and Grow Rich yet, Awaken to Rich. And it's already potentially saved mothers and babies' lives in the new maternity ward. Probably saved all the health conditions in the new kitchen that was created in the hospital. The film has already saved lives.
Wonderful demonstration This is a wonderful demonstration.
Well, it was a really, and the second thing that happened
and affirming
to me,
for you.
yeah, and it was kind of like the birth of a seed in my mind, which was, now you Think and Grow Rich is about giving back.
Yeah, right.
It's not just about making $1 million, it's about giving $1 million. If you can make $1 million, you can give $1 million. So I was kind of sowing the seeds.
So you just make $2 million and give
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's,
Exactly.
it's all relative.
Totally. But how do you do it? How do you, is always the question everyone's asking. How can I make $1 million? How can I create the seed in my mind that's going to enhance my life? How can I create the magic of Think and Grow Rich for my life? Wherever you live, whether you're in Russia, Germany, England, Japan, Middle America.
Don't you think that when you live your passion and purpose, money follows?
Yeah.
It may not be in your time frame or my time frame, but it is happening.
Well, I want to get you on LovEarth, Dr. Cheryl. Somehow we've got to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it. We've got to get you on LovEarth.
Oh, please.
Remember?
Yes. Save
the world, get paid. That's the mantra.
Yes.
And the way, I mean, what happened next was even more kind of extraordinary, because we created the director's cut of the film. I interviewed many enlightened multimillionaires and some billionaires, and we just created this incredible film, this beautiful, very powerful film. I then get more investment. I got Mark Victor Hansen's Inner Circle involved. They all invested, and before you know it, I had like a lot of money streaming in to complete the director's cut of the movie. I showed it to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. What was extraordinary there was I had to really think about that, because I thought if the Napoleon Hill Foundation, who are the living...
Are they down in LA?
No, they're based south of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
In Hammond.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but if I showed it to them and they didn't like it, what am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm like a bit stuck. And but if I prayed. I imagined Napoleon Hill was in front of me. I kind of saw his spirit in my third eye almost. And I said this question at 2:00 in the morning. It was, do I go to Hammond and show the director's cut of the movie to the head of the Napoleon Hill Foundation or not? Do I go, yes or no? And I got a reply back in my imagination from Napoleon Hill.
We always have to see the outcome always, everything.
Extraordinary. And the reply was, if you go to Hammond, Illinois, to the foundation, you'll receive far more than you can ever possibly imagine. Yeah. I was like, okay. I actually emailed at 2:30, 2:45 that night, because if I'd woken up in the morning and thought about what I just experienced, I might start rationalizing.
Your mind, see the mind,
and your ego. Your ego kicks in and then starts rationalizing, and then you're not acting on the divine. What came through to you in spirit, which is your highest. So I emailed that night, and I got a reply the next day. Yes, come to Hammond, Illinois. We'd love to see your film, from Judy Williamson, the head of the director of the Napoleon Hill World Learning Center. So I fly in, take the film, show it to her, like holding my seat. It's like, whew. Okay,
and
Judy.
You put yourself on the line.
And she said, I love it. I want to show the public tonight, because every month we have a public debate, and we want those people who are into the foundation, who want to see the philosophy of Napoleon Hill. We want to show them your film. See what they think. So I'm like waiting again. My first public ever screening of the director's cut of the film, and they loved it. You've brought the book to life. The Think and Grow Rich we thought was a philosophy. Now we can see it's true today in your movie. That's, oh my God. Next step.
See, I haven't heard all this. This is fabulous.
This is all new. Well, the next step, what happened was, they said, we've got the world celebrations of Napoleon Hill in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. We want your movie to be the crown jewel of the event.
Oh.
We've got the king. You've been offered to, Martin, you've been offered to give a speech to the king of Malaysia at the conference. and the Minister of Tourism is going to open your movie to potentially 1,000 people in a stadium with two giant
wonderful.
screens
Wow.
of your movie playing
When?
simultaneously to all these hundreds and hundreds of
When?
people. It happened.
It already did.
The director's cut. It happened.
So when
And
did that happen?
just before then, we signed a deal with a distributor for the United States.
Yeah.
And then I'm there. I'm live. I've never given a speech before. I'm with the king of speech makers around the world. And you know what? I just said it from my heart. I just
that's the only way.
stood up
Then,
and I just spoke from my heart, and I just all my fears. You know, I had to breathe in, and I just imagined my heart full of light and just shining brightly to 1,000 people, including the King of Malaysia.
and when you come from your heart.
And I just spoke from my heart.
Yeah,
And I was all in a tuxedo, and it was like a different Martin on stage there, and it was hilarious. And it was great fun. And we had a screening of the movie, and this young woman came up to me and whispered in my ear, and she said, I was thinking of committing suicide, and your movie has given me hope.
Boy, right there in itself, it was worth just,
The whole journey, just to hear that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, you can't get enough money for that.
No, priceless.
There's no price.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then,
thank you for sharing that.
Then 2 months later,
When did this happen?
this was now 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Then
I
literally
had
2
no
months
idea
later,
when I met you the first time. I had no idea.
I know, I didn't tell you anything.
No.
Well, 2 months later, the company that we signed a deal with for the United States, the main guy, the head guy, he stole our music money for the film. He underfunded himself because he wanted to basically, it's a whole personal, I won't go into details, but it was pretty, there's darkness
The
within
journey that
everyone.
we go through.
And after giving a speech to a king to 1,000 people, they stole the music money. The film is in limbo. It's in legal no man's land. I have no money. I'm homeless on the beach in Venice Beach. Like wondering what on earth has
What
happened.
are you going to do? Yeah.
And so I'm back again at this crossroads of life, and I'm under the stars. It was raining, drizzling, and I'm on Venice Beach with my suitcase with the homeless. So I said, okay, God, I think there's a plan here. There's a plan. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the plan is. Right now I'm like in crisis mode. I'm homeless on the beach. What do I do? And then it was like electric light bulb, like lightning bolt. If you give 33% back to the planet, back to the earth, back to humanity, you'll be okay. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And then I said, are you sure you don't mean 10%?
Because that's the norm.
33.
So that means you have to make more.
Exactly. And then I'm thinking, oh my God. And I was already thinking, how can I get the film back? How can I create something that replaced this company called E3 Flicks that nearly swallowed us whole? And they went bust. They basically went to court with one another. The heads there, they went down in a string of ego and whatever, and flames, whatever you want to call it. But basically, I was left, and I got this divine message. So the very next day, I had to go to the yoga place to have a shower. I had nowhere to have a shower. I had a shower there. I didn't tell them I wasn't doing yoga. I was just having a shower. And I went to this environmentalist, and I said to him, I've got this idea for something called LovEarth. It's a new entertainment model. And in my mind, I knew it was replacing the one that nearly swallowed us whole. And this entertainment model is going to be different. We're going to give 33% back to the planet. We're going to give 33% of our profits back to humanity. And
From the get-go.
Yeah. From the DNA seed of the company.
Right, yeah.
And he said, I love it. He said, that's brilliant. I said, well, you've got an opportunity of advertising on the website. If you want to put a 50% deposit down now, then you'll secure your place. And it was like really cheeky, but I had no option and I had no choice. And your back is, that I didn't want to spend another night on the beach, basically.
Yeah.
I knew I had to do something. And he just said, yes, I'll put a 50% advertising spot. That sounds great on your future imagined website called LovEarth.
Right.
And he did it. I went to an entrepreneurial conference in LA at the Hilton that I found out about, and I said, oh my God, there's always people there. So I went to this healthy chocolate lady. I'll mention her name because she's brilliant. And this Zoshai kind of chocolate, acai chocolate. And she said, asked her the same thing. She said, I'll put an advertising spot on your future website. I love it. I said, oh my God, okay, now. And then within few more weeks, I went back to the same conference and I raised $40,000 for the movie. It got us out of limbo.
How much did you need? Like
well,
100?
I wasn't sure because I didn't know how much the legal costs were going to be to get it out of limbo, but I knew I had to raise a sum to actually...
And an extra 33%.
Well, this is for the movie now.
Okay.
This is to resurrect the movie.
The practical part of it.
And I wanted the movie to have a platform, LovEarth, which could go on, but the first step was getting the movie out of limbo, which we did. And succeeded. And we got it out of limbo, and then my producer from New York, well, she wasn't a producer at that time, she was actually in the film, but one of the people in the film who's a multi-millionaire, she's an author of Love's Fire, Tiana Conte, she's amazing, very psychic. And I interviewed her in the movie all about the psychic nature of Think and Grow Rich, and she was just so magical and brilliant.
Any gold nuggets that you have?
She put in over 100. She put in a lot of money into the film to get it to re-edit it, and at the same time, showed it to a new distributor as well for the DVD, and to republish Think and Grow Rich as a co-venture edition with LovEarth. Richard Cohn, Beyond Words. He had tears coming down his cheeks for the last quarter of the movie, and he said, I'm in. I want this for Beyond Words. Division of Simon Schuster. I want this. We want to publish the book with you, Think and Grow Rich, the movie edition of the book. Bring it to life. He also said, if you get the grandson of Napoleon Hill to write the foreword, which we did. So I met him, J.B. Hill. What a lovely guy he is. And so we republished the book, and they got the DVD rights for the US. But I wanted the online portal for LovEarth. Sure. And within 2 weeks of being homeless, I got Leonardo DiCaprio's media team, who said they don't build websites anymore. We used to build them for Leonardo, but we don't do it anymore. But we love LovEarth so much, we're going to help create the first template for LovEarth. And it was kind of like a miracle. It just, it was within 2 weeks of being homeless. I was now suddenly working with Leonardo DiCaprio's media team to create the face of.
How did you get that connection?
I think I just looked up who had. I wanted to find out who created Leonardo. I looked at Leonardo DiCaprio's website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's
just research.
Just research.
You go online. Yeah. You find out who the company was. It's called Tree Media.
Sure.
Find out they're in Santa Monica. They're like virtual neighbors to where I was in Venice. Right. And I just presented the movie. They loved the movie, the director's cut, and I presented them LovEarth, and they loved that, and it was like putting two and two together. And by that time, I had a little bit of money. Resource. I paid them some money to do it, and we were off. We were like, game on. It was like
so. How long ago was that?
That was all around 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But they could create the face of it. I needed to create a giant chunk of change to actually create LovEarth as the model we have today. And that has been an epic journey. I needed basically $250,000.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And before the film had been, officially released, this was part of the release of Awakening Riches. So in the interim, my brother basically put his clothing company on the stock exchange in London. And became a multi-millionaire overnight. And he said, I'll give my parents some organic land and I'm going to buy you a home, Martin. So I was now living in this beautiful home.
Well, in Venice.
In Venice.
And the one that I met you, I've been in.
We met there.
Yeah.
In the canals. And at first it was like, oh no, I didn't do it to drink and grow rich. And then this very spiritual woman, she said, are you crazy, Maya? The universe is speaking through your brother. Providing you a home. Are you crazy?
And your ego thought you had to do it on your own.
I know. And so I said, yeah. In the end, I said, well, let me see what's out there. And I found this beautiful home on the Venice canals, which is gorgeous.
Yes,
you were
I was there.
You've seen it. It was so beautiful. And I just, was living in this beautiful home. And I just met this beautiful woman from Marin County. And the missing piece was I want LovEarth to really be successful. I'm going to have to sacrifice something here. So I just said, I've got to rent out my home. I don't care if I'm going to sleep on my friend's sofa with 3 cats running around with pee on. It was pretty gross. It was like, a pretty, I bought my cats as well, so it was like pretty crazy there with all the cats. And I thought I'd rather sleep on my friend's sofa, but have the money having rented out my property and then start investing into LovEarth. So that's what I did. I was on my friend's sofa for 2.5 months and I left my beautiful home behind. But the beautiful home was now bringing capital in.
And that's after I met you.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah, okay.
And I actually moved near here, near the studios, to be close to this beautiful woman who I'd met at a yoga festival. And I met her, she was a kid's yoga teacher, really beautiful woman. And we just hit it off, and I was living in this area, and just very modestly. But I left my friend's sofa, moved up here, but I had this income going into LovEarth, and then there came to a point where I said, okay, now I've got to sell this home, sell it, and all the prices have gone up. It became in the years that it basically went up by 48%.
Wow.
And suddenly this beautiful home, Silicon Beach, had been created in Venice, from Silicon Valley here. It became Silicon Beach in Venice. So I leveraged the property that I had and it went up by 48%. Joel Silver had moved in, all the film stars, Julia Roberts even, funny enough, had bought a home in the same canals and flipped it and made a profit there. So I just was very savvy. I said, okay, it's time to sell. I'm going to move more into the country, be closer to nature, and leverage the profit and invest $250,000 into LovEarth, which is what I did. That's what it needed. And I got the guy who put the first Apple Macintosh into space with NASA and Apple Mac, Steve Walk, and he then constructed all the behind the scenes stuff with LovEarth and really made what it is today possible. And LovEarth as a concept, there was no longer a concept. LovEarth as a idea wasn't just a dream. LovEarth was actually now not just a vision from God. It was actually
manifest.
The divine blueprint manifest in reality. And now we had a beautiful website. We started getting the charities that we're going to give to online. We started getting the artists, Hollywood actors, celebrities. We invite everyone to save the world and get paid. It's brilliant because people get 33%. Yeah. No, well, it's going to launch our movie. We're taking 5 years later. So the whole process has taken 10 years from the point of making the film to the point of creating a LovEarth website, which will launch the film. We have video on demand. So we're going to have all sorts of wonderful movies on there, all sorts of very powerful, strong, beautiful movies. We'll be launching Awakening Riches on LovEarth as well. So we've got a Netflix type platform. So it's video on demand. So it's pretty much exactly the same as Netflix or Hulu or any of those. And so we've got that on there as well. So it's really,
So this is huge.
Yeah, it's global. You become an affiliate. Anyone can make money on LovEarth.
Yeah.
I should have said that, shouldn't I?
You just did?
Anyone can make money on LovEarth. You can become an affiliate in a few moments. You can tell your friends and family. You can basically get potentially your organic groceries for free because you can tell your friends and family. You only have to get a few people who get a few people, and then suddenly you're getting money through becoming an affiliate on LovEarth, and suddenly you've got the money for your, for your phone bill, for your grocery bill, to watch good movies, and transform your life through the e-courses, or just spend it as you want.
So how do you become a member?
You're not a member as such, but as an affiliate. And the key to our affiliate system, which is radically different from others, is that we're 2 tiers deep, which means that you might have an email list, say, of 300, 400, maybe a few thousand people. You've probably got a few thousand people on your email list. I think I've reached, after many years, like a few thousand as well. Yeah. And
I've got stacks of cards that I haven't put into the database, so it's growing.
There you go.
I mean, I've got them all. It's just taking the time, or have somebody else put them.
I mean, you only need 1,000 people to spend $100, and we've grossed $100,000. And we're very clear and transparent about our profit margins. We make 25% profit on the groceries, and we make 50% on all the digital products. That means 25% of the profits is divided 33% to you, your charity, and 33% to us, which means that you can always make residual income potentially with LovEarth, and it's very powerful. You can make money and give back to the world. That's the key. I believe it's the golden key that Napoleon Hill was really talking about. And Andrew Carnegie, the richest guy in the world, he knew the philosophy of wealth creation is always to receive. A flower receives, a tree receives. What do they receive? They receive the nutrients from the earth, the power of light from the sun. But then they give you the blossom, they give the bees the nectar, they give the honey.
And the lessons for humanity, and I know I'm speaking for myself, is receiving. It's really receiving, allowing you to receive.
Yeah.
That is harder for women, I think. Unfortunately.
Wow.
But it's I'm still learning it. I'm learning though, and that's the key, is to learn.
Come on to LovEarth.
Hey.
Dr. Cheryl, we're waiting for you. Are you going to come?
I'm here.
Are you here?
I'm here. I'm right here.
Are you going to sign up? You could become an artist overnight, become an affiliate. We'd love to have you. We'd love to. Have you got a cause that you love?
I have several.
But if you had
dolphins.
One. Really?
Dolphins.
I love dolphins. Yeah.
Dolphins.
Oh.
And yes, the Cove, and Flipper's trainer. I forget his name.
Barry.
Yeah.
I think Jim
Barry. Yeah. I watch them. I've been watching them for a few years because.
But if you had one cause that you absolutely loved and you give back to, apart from the Dr. Cheryl Foundation cause, which I no doubt will come and at some point.
Education. Oh my gosh, and I know that needs to be specific. But waking up the humanity, that's to their spiritual base, so they know that there's more than enough of everything that one needs. There's more than enough. And more than enough that we don't even have to pay, for water. There's so many things that people are missing because they don't have enough trust, faith in themselves, number one. That's the most important thing.
So you want to teach that to kids?
Yes, is loving yourself unconditionally, so then you can love others unconditionally.
And it starts so young, doesn't it?
Yes, I mean, totally.
And so if there's one cause that you particularly love, and you could give back to, it's one to think about anyway. Room for lots of possibilities.
Well, I probably would want to create one.
They might be. It might be on LovEarth already.
I don't know.
We have so many charities. We've got a children's charity on LovEarth. Yeah. We've got a couple of children's charities already.
What is it for? I mean, what is it pertaining to directly?
There's one all to do with what you just said about empowerment, education.
Yeah.
Their beautiful cause. You could sign up with them, and then you'd make 33%. And then every time anyone bought tea bags from you, or watched a movie, or bought
But I have to have my own products, right?
No. Just come on as an affiliate.
Yeah, okay.
But you come on as an affiliate to an existing charity.
You got to work it.
Well, one email. You've got a list of how many people?
Over 3,000. I mean, now it's...
So you've got one email, one little email blast, It could take you 5 minutes
So
of
are
your
you
life.
selling me here?
Well, I'm saying how easy it is
Yeah.
to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, because a charity is probably sitting on, like, could be 10,000 people, could be 100,000 people, could be 1,000,000 people, and yet they have real problems trying to reach out, getting donations all the time. And LovEarth basically eliminates that for them with one email to their list. If any one number of those supporters start purchasing from LovEarth, then their cause, their charity, their beloved cause, starts making residual income literally overnight. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I am trying to sell something. I'm trying to sell this great concept called LovEarth that is very easy for artists and causes to not just to make money, but to do what they
Well, it's
want to do.
exposure. You know, it's important to, especially when you're an artist, and you're an artist. I'm an artist. I actually have Chinese brush painting I've done for years, and I've sold several of my paintings. But I'll get back into that. But right now, it's educating adults to their own empowerment of spirituality. That empowers them more than anything. You know, when you have that foundation and you're totally in tune with your higher self, that's what it's about. No ego, healthy ego, healthy because we have to have a healthy ego, but being aware of the unhealthy and the healthy, but just, and also, like we were talking earlier about the unconscious, the subconscious mind. Because when you pay attention, when you're paying attention to, I mean, I have gotten to the point where, and I learned this through the religious science of mind, is that whenever I think of a negative thought, I remember in the very beginning, I'd scream, stop, stop, because I don't want to, you know, the power of attraction. If you think negative, it keeps, and that's why I don't like being around negative people.
You know what I say? You know what I say when I get a negative thought? 'Cause, you know, typically, you know, I'm full of positive thoughts, but like anyone, you get negative thoughts. So you know what I do? I just bless it. I actually
That's great.
you know, I get some sometimes it's horrible because you don't know where the conditioning comes from. It's like, you know, it could be
usually it's from back.
Well,
it
could be
past.
your childhood. It could
Past.
be watching some horror movie.
Yeah,
it could be
and I
a
don't
piece
watch
of
them.
news that
Yeah, I don't even
typically
watch the
Fox News is enough to give anyone
Oh,
nightmares.
God.
But anyway, your mind filters in all this stuff, and
Yeah.
at some point in everyday life, it comes out into your thoughts. So whenever I get like a negative thought, I just bless it. I say, bless it, bless you, bless you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And actually, it's almost like see it like a ray of light. So I actually bless with a ray of light to that thought, which is actually got an image to it. Often the ray of thought, if it's something that's dark, which pops in every now and again,
Yeah,
I go boom, and it's like a ray of light. And I feel like Christ is, you know, everyone says, you know, I didn't come up from a Christian family at all. In fact, they're positively atheist, my family.
Wow.
So I've always wondered about Christ, about Jesus, about, you know, how that is, what is that reality of Christ for me? You know, because this is at the back of
It's
helping
called
charities.
freedom and being happy and joyful.
And it's at the back of wanting to do good, wanting to help charities help themselves through the LovEarth model. It's not just about making money, it's about them helping more kids, helping clean the ocean. It's about them helping orphanages in Africa. It's about them unifying schools with meditation.
Helping the girls get
girls.
educated so they aren't going to be forced into marriage at 9, 13 years old.
All these things. That's what LovEarth really means. So how does the Christ energy, you know, as I see it, that light, that's the divinity within us, I say, God, what is Christ? What is the Christ energy? And I closed my eyes, I looked in, and what I saw was the light of Christ is actually the light of God.
Of course
It's
it
the
is. It's all
reflection
one.
of God. And the reflection of God without any name permeates everything. Everything. All matter is made up of this Christ light, which is the intelligence of God. It's in this. It's in you. It's in me. It's in between us. It's in the darkness. It's in the light. It's in space. It's in plants. It's in trees. It's in rocks. It's in buildings. It's in the earth. It's in the star system.
And it's in our responsibility to use it in the best for humanity. It's our responsibility.
So. Yeah. I believe that light of Christ is within me. It's who I truly am. And you could take the name Christ out and just say, it's the light of
spirit,
it's the light of God.
Universe. I say divine intelligence.
Yeah.
You can label it whatever you want. Some people resist God, but it's divine intelligence. And you know what? Our time is coming down to an end.
Well, Napoleon Hill, going back to the great master, teacher, and author of the Think and Grow Rich, he said that if you took out the word God, because some people don't believe in God.
Well, it pushes a button for people.
But God's fine with me. But how about infinite intelligence or higher power? Yeah. So he used those two words, higher power, infinite intelligence. That's kind of interesting because if God is anything, definitely a higher power and definitely infinite intelligence. In which case, that's who we are, and that's really the blessing of our life is, creating as much light and love as we possibly can, and knowing that love is the highest form of
what's going to save humanity.
Yeah. Dr. Cheryl, are you going to save humanity? I think.
You're doing it. We all have to do it collectively. It isn't just me. It's we. It's we. It's we. It really is. It's we.
Really is.
It's we. I'm just one little piece in this universe, But we got to keep doing it. Persistence. Yeah. So our time's come to an end.
Oh, there we are.
Sorry.
Speed of light.
I know. And thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming all the way up from Los Angeles.
It's a pleasure
being here. And
thank you for the invitation. Just totally grateful and brilliant to be here. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers.
I'll leave you with this. Never give up. Be grateful for whose you are and where you've come from and what you have. And be grateful for your freedom and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds your mind and your body temple. And don't forget to exercise. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer. Love yourself unconditionally. Stop criticizing, stop judging, forgive yourself and others. Try to be understanding. And stop allowing others to dominate the way you feel and think about yourself. Be compassionate. And share your abundance and wealth with others. When fear knocks, let faith answer the door.